follow any of my social media stuff, you'll have seen probably that I've been sticking a few bits and pieces of pictures of this bike up this morning. It's not very often that I get a bike as fancy as this. In fact, it's not very often that many people get a bike as fancy as this. This is a really, really, really special bit of kit. It's a CR500 with an AF conversion. So the aluminium frame is a CR250, 1998 CR250, and the engine is a 1999 CR500 engine. And that in itself is pretty special, but the bits that make it even more special are a lot of the what look to be factory parts. So took a picture of it this morning. It had black plastics all over it. So there's a black mud guards and side panels and this, that and the other. And I've put on this set of red plastics. Unfortunately, the red rear mud guard doesn't quite fit right, so I've left the black on. And I've put these on because if you notice down here, so there's a race number 14, and then it says AMA motocross. So that would suggest to me that these, well, it doesn't suggest to me. These plastics have been used in the AMA Pro motocross series. Okay, so that's number one. And there's another set of plastics which are white, which again the same number 14, and these have got AMA Supercross logo on them. So these plastics we use in the AMA Supercross, same rider. And then we've got things like, and we'll do a close-up, but the front forks seem to be some kind of factory fork. They're all nitrided. They've got markings on the top, like factory markings on the top. They're definitely not standard. We've got a factory number board at the front. The front wheel, if you look at it and compare it to a regular CR250 or 500 wheel, the hub is like absolutely massive. It's then got a factory disc guard. We've got factory radiator. There's titanium bolts all over the bike. Not every single bolt is titanium. I suspect a couple have been lost and they've been replaced with regular steel, unfortunately. And then also loads of it is lock wired. So the front sprocket bolt is titanium and is lock wired to the sprocket. The front brake is lock wired. It's yeah, just all over it. There's loads of fancy bits. Nice ASV levers, all anodised covers. Whoever the rider was who had this bike, and I'm suspecting that it's had a bit of an upgrade over the years. Maybe the ASV levers were, you know, an add-on or whatever. But certainly the bones of it are what look to be factory. Now I don't know whether the factory will have done the 500 conversion. Maybe that was also done after the fact. But certainly a lot of the bike was a team rider's bike of whichever Honda team. I'm not sure. I mean, there's on these plastics here, assuming these are the plastics that went in, because the colour is identical. So the side panels with the number board is identical to the colour on the front, the rad scoops. But obviously the decal could have been changed on there because there's no team sponsors or anything like that on there. I had a look at the white one, so it's got Honda Racing. Again, these could have been changed, I don't know. Honda Racing, decal works. And then the rest of it have been stuck over, so Spy, Fox and the Fox is part of the original decal. So, not sure who the rider is. I had thought at one point it was Kevin Windham, but I don't think he was on Honda this year. I could be wrong. Maybe he did move to them in '98. Yeah, anyway, very, very fancy bike. So what we'll do is we'll do a little look around. I've not washed it again. I mean, you know, that's what I do. I don't wash them. I probably should do. There's a guy who's seen me some of my pictures from this morning. He's coming to look at the bike at 2 o'clock. I've given him a price. He says he's bringing the money to buy it. So I'm thinking of giving him too cheap a price. But there you go. We'll see. A deal's a deal, and if not, I'll be sticking it up for sale in the regular manner. But it'll be going on at a fixed price. There is a lot of detail on this bike, really, which I'd like to try to point out, but I know I'm going to miss stuff. I mean, if we start from the back, I normally start from the front, don't I? So we've got the side panels there with the AMA Pro Racing, that's the motocross racing side plate. The rear hub, that is not a stock hub by any means. We've then got the rear axle. The rear axle is steel. The bolt, the nut, the axle nut is drilled, so it's ready to be lock wired. Then I'm not sure that that's a standard axle myself. It doesn't look standard to me. It's not like the shape of Honda axles that I normally see. We've got an FMF silencer on here and an FMF gnarly at the front. They will have been put on when the AF conversion was done. The rear shock, I'm not sure if that's a factory shock or not. It possibly is when we come down and have a look at. So the linkage, all CNC linkage, and CNC lower to the rear shock. That possibly is a factory shock in there. The engine is all titanium bolts on the engine and the engine mounts. Very, very, very nice. Very nice attention to detail. Whoever's done this work. I took a picture that's on my Instagram of the airbox, the inside of the airbox. There's a carbon fibre air, the cage that the air filter bolts to is all carbon fibre. I don't think the airbox is standard. I think that's a factory piece as well. Even the bolt that holds the air filter in is titanium. It's so light, it's unbelievable. And then we've got these nice anodised bits. Someone's chewed that one up a little bit, unfortunately, but still nice bits and pieces. The pipe's got a bit of a ding in it, which we could get sorted. These titanium foot pegs and titanium mounts and everything for the foot pegs. Lock wired rear brake master cylinder. The front radiator, you probably can't see this from here, but that is not stock. That's all TIG weld. It's a TIG welded radiator, whereas it would have been like a cast piece on the standard bike. We've got some fancy billet triple clamps with the titanium bolts. I'll try and get, you see those inscriptions on the top of the forks. They are not standard forks by any means. Completely. There will be a factory issue, like an A-kit kind of fork. Nice nitrided fork stanchions. And then that brings us to the front wheel. I mean, look at the flipping size of that hub. That is a monster. You don't see things like that every day at all. Factory number board. Might not be the most expensive thing in the world, but along with all of the other bits and pieces that are on this bike, it just adds to a bit of its provenance really. I think those triple clamps are beautiful. They're really nice job. Whoever's made them at someone at HRC, I would think, has made them. Maybe with a slightly different offset and stuff, but yeah, really nice bit of kit. And then the factory disc guard, so it protects the disc and it also protects the caliper as well. And then the front brakes all lock wired. And round to this side, so that lovely TIG welding on that radiator, and then you can see the quality of the work on the frame has been done nicely. The welds do look good. Again, one of them beautiful titanium pegs. I mean, I wouldn't like to have a crash and have that flick up and get me. That would hurt a lot, but that is what they run. Gorgeous thing. I did ride this bike in March. I didn't have a look over it as thoroughly as I just have done now, but I did ride it in March in America. I didn't get it too far off the pilot jet when I was riding it, unfortunately. I'm going to ride it again in a minute, but again, I'm only going to poodle around the garden on it. I'm not going to be giving it a full send or anything like that. Leg's still a bit dicky at the minute, and the garden's not that big, but I mean, if this guy doesn't take it, I will stick it up for sale, but I'd love to keep the thing. Stunning bit of kit. Anyway, let's do the gearbox check. I mean, I know that all the gears are present, and then we'll get it fired up and we'll give it a run round. There we go. So 5-speed box in a CR500. I'd say it's a 1999 motor. So it's a very good motor, one of the last ones. So we're in neutral there. The rear tyre's catching the shock protector there, which is what that noise is. I just managed to just flick it out of the way a little bit. Right, neutral, down into first, up into second, third, fourth and fifth, back down into fourth, third, second and neutral. There we go. So there's the 5 gears. We'll get it off the engine stand. I'll get it fired up so you can listen to it running, and then we'll run it around the garden. I've just had it running, so I'll try it without the choker. Awesome, doesn't it? That's a bit embarrassing. see there that the tyre was spinning up quite bad. I suspect, well, in fact I'll be certain really, that the tyres will need changing because they'll be just rock hard really. So that would be one thing, but sounds awesome, loads and loads and loads of power, and obviously you can't test it properly here really. You can get into second and that's about it. First gear is obviously a very aggressive gear on a bike like this. Second gear is a bit more mellow, but still it would just keep on going way longer than this garden really. So yeah, cracking thing, beautiful bit of kit. Please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just search Phoenix Motos.